UNRWA budget is more than $1 billion, paid for historically by Western democracies. Historically, America was giving $300 million plus. This stopped under President Biden and continues to be stopped under the current President Trump. But America was giving $300 million, and Germany in recent years is at about $200 million a year. We don't have the figures public of last year, but in recent years it was about $200 million a year. Actually, maybe we can, the microphones, we can just put them so I can see everyone. Thank you. So it's very important to be here. Since America stopped funding, Germany is today the largest funder of UNRWA, and it's extremely important that you, who are approving budgets, know what you are funding. And so let me give you a brief glimpse of what Germany is funding. So our report looks at, as a case study, the situation in Gaza, where UNRWA has 13,000 staff. They have 30,000 staff across the Middle East, in Syria, Jordan, Lebanon, West Bank, Gaza, and Gaza. 30,000, 13,000 are in Gaza. By the way, UNHCR, the UN Refugee Agency, which is right next to me in Geneva, they employ somewhere between 16 and 19,000. It was 19,000. It's going down with cuts to about 16,000. That's for all the refugees in the world. So all the refugees in the world have between 16 and 19,000 staff, and just the Palestinians have 30,000 staff. Let's take a look at our report, which begins part one of the report, again, which will be online, and it'll be on our website, unwatch.org, within the hour. And let's look at part one, which has a focus on the situation in Gaza. By the way, our report has 598 footnotes, and what my poor staff had to do was every Facebook photo, every Facebook post, to archive it. The internet, you can archive a link, because the moment we publish it, then UNRWA has a hot wire with red phone with Facebook to delete them, not because they cared about the incitement that they knew about for 10 years, but because now it's public, and because you're seeing it, and because the Neue Zürcher Zeitung now has a major article about it, Facebook immediately deletes the item, so it's blank. And now we're all archived. So you have the Facebook post and then the archive, so you can see exactly what it looked like before it gets deleted within the next 24 hours. Okay, so let me introduce you to one of the leading figures of UNRWA in the past several decades. You might think I'm going to show you Philippe Lazzarini. I'm Swiss. Philippe Lazzarini comes from Neuchâtel and is the official head of UNRWA, but he's mostly in Switzerland and other capitals doing fundraising. He visits from time to time, but the people running things on the ground are people like Suhail al-Hindi. So Suhail al-Hindi joined UNRWA as a teacher in 1988. So for decades, was about 3 decades a teacher, became a school principal in 2006. For more than a decade, he was a principal of a school, and he was a leading figure in the UNRWA staff union. He joined in 1993 the staff union, became the deputy head in 2000, head of the teachers union in 2003, and head of the entire UNRWA staff union, 13,000 employees in 2006. He was involved in other unions as well in Gaza, so a major figure in charge of the Gaza workforce, but finally as head of 13,000 Gaza staff. Also the head of the General Conference of all UNRWA unions, which would include Lebanon, Syria, West Bank, and Jordan. Okay. That's Suhail al-Hindi. As you can see, he is interacting with the heads of UNRWA. Next to him is Pierre Krahenbuhl, was for several years, was the Commissioner General of UNRWA. So when Pierre Krahenbuhl, also Swiss, now he's the Director General of the Red Cross. When Krahenbuhl would fly into Gaza, the person that he's next to is the one who's really running things, is Suhail al-Hindi. Okay. Again, Pierre Krahenbuhl is regularly interacting with Suhail al-Hindi. Okay, so here's Suhail al-Hindi UNRWA has about 100 to 200 international staff. I said there were 30,000 staff. The 30,000 are not 30,000 Philippe Lazzarinis or Robert Turners or Matthias Schmel of Germany, who was a major figure at UNRWA. The international staff make up less than 1% of the staff. The vast majority, over 99% of the 30,000 staff, are Palestinians themselves. So when you hear an aid worker was killed, it's not the Robert Turners, it's the Suhail al-Hindi local staff who are the majority of the staff. So here you see him signing documents with the then head of UNRWA Gaza because he's head of the union. Okay, next. Here's Mr. al-Hindi giving out an award to a student in Gaza. Okay. Now here, this picture, so you've seen that Suhail al-Hindi is a major union figure. You see he interacts regularly with the heads of UNRWA, including Pierre Krahenbull. Now let's show the other side, which you're not supposed to know about. Okay. Here is Suhail al-Hindi sitting next to, they're all wearing the same scarf, Ismail Haniyeh, who was the leader of Hamas until he was eliminated in Tehran, I guess it was about a year ago. Let's go back to the other one if we can. So again, this is a Hamas gathering. You can see the date on it is May 2010. So Suhail al-Hindi is chairing the meeting. Okay, he's chairing the meeting. They're talking about martyrs. Ismail Haniyeh is talking about the martyrs of Hamas, Abdulaziz Rantizi, Sheikh Ahmed Yassin. They're praising the martyrs of Hamas. And in the center, in the chair, is the head of the UNRWA staff union, was head of the UNRWA teachers union, who we are paying for. I'm Swiss, so we're paying about $25 million a year. You're paying about $200 million a year. You are paying his salary. Next. Here is Suhail al-Hindi with the mastermind of the October 7th massacre, Yahya Sinwar. By the way, we'll show you in a moment, Suhail al-Hindi is officially one of the elected Hamas leaders. In Gaza, they have a political bureau of 20 Hamas leaders. Suhail al-Hindi was elected as one of the members. So here he is with his fellow Hamas Politburo leader, Yahya Sinwar, mastermind of the October 7th massacre. Again, UNRWA teacher. Here is the full Politburo in their team photo. Half of them have been eliminated since October 7th. Again, Suhail al-Hindi is on the left. And on the bottom, you see Yahya Sinwar. Again, as I said, about half of them have been eliminated since then. Suhail al-Hindi is one of the remaining Hamas leaders. Okay. Here he is, you see, with weapons going around. Now, this is from a few weeks ago. This is about 2 weeks ago in Qatar. Suhail al-Hindi is part of the Hamas delegation that was in Qatar. And he was not targeted in the strike. He had already left. But across from him is the Iranian foreign minister. So Iran, which had, in June, bombed the U.S. base in Qatar, has opened, still very welcome, despite Qatar's deep concern about its sovereignty. The Iranian foreign minister is very welcome. And here he is meeting with the Hamas delegation. And one of the leaders of Hamas meeting with the Iranian delegation, which funded and armed Hamas for the October 7th massacre, is the UNRWA, he's now the former UNRWA teachers union leader, Suhail al-Hindi. Okay. A little bit more, you see at the bottom. On the bottom is Suhail al-Hindi at one of his many UNRWA rallies. He would often mobilize UNRWA staff to protest against the UNRWA management. If we did a report and America became under a lot of pressure, and maybe Germany came under some pressure, and they made a phone call to Philippe Lazzarini and said, look, we're getting embarrassed because Hillel Neuer and Miriam and Dutch and German MPs are talking about a UNRWA teacher who's inciting the murder of Jews. We need to do something. And if they would suspend temporarily for a few weeks, 1 teacher, 3 teachers, 10 teachers temporarily, immediately Hamas, through Suhail al-Hindi and others who are in that photo, all of them have UNRWA positions. They would do a rally in front of the UNRWA headquarters in Gaza and say, don't you dare diminish the rights of the Palestinians, our patriotism. And so on the bottom you see Suhail al-Hindi in his UNRWA clothing, and on the top you see him by night. It's not the night, it's in the day, a Hamas leader. Okay? So you see here Suhail al-Hindi, UNRWA union leader, Suhail al-Hindi, Hamas leader. Okay. Next. Okay. So again, now let me tell you, that was big picture Su'al al-Hindi, leader of UNRWA staff union and Hamas leader. Now a bit of chronology. Let me tell the story chronologically. May 2010, we mentioned before, Su'al al-Hindi is chairing an event with the Hamas leadership. This is seen somewhere by Israel. Israel, around 2010, or maybe months later, contacts UNRWA, says, we have a problem here. Your teacher, school principal, union leader is heading Hamas events, praising Hamas martyrs. You need to remove him. UNRWA resists. They don't want to do anything. Finally, about a year later, in September 2011, they say, okay, we're going to suspend you, right? Maximum things they usually do is suspend for a month or two. They call Berlin. They go, don't worry, we've suspended them. We've taken action. And quietly, if you read the Palestinian newspapers, the UNRWA says, of course, we're still paying them. Don't worry, it's just a suspension. We're going to work out the problem. Okay. So the moment that he was suspended, only after immense pressure, only because the picture was made public, even though everyone knew, right? We're going to show you this morning many pictures of UNRWA staff praising terrorism, inciting terrorism, and being terrorist leaders. You have to understand, everyone knows, right? They're not hiding it. They're hiding in plain sight. Everyone knew. So here is 2011, when he finally, UNRWA suspended him. Su'al al-Hindi and Hamas mobilized thousands, 8,000 UNRWA teachers to protest, to stop teaching from September to December 2011. The schools, 220,000 students at different points were frozen to go to mass rallies to say, don't touch Su'al al-Hindi. He's a patriot. He's just being a patriot. Yeah, he's a Hamas terror chief. No, he's just being a Palestinian patriot. Okay, here he is next to, these are at rallies for UNRWA. In each picture, he's next to a Hamas leader. Here you see Sami Abu Zuhri. So this was the mass rally of thousands of UNRWA staff, all stopped the schools, thousands of students accusing UNRWA of deception, lying, and hypocrisy because they dared to suspend a Hamas terror chief. Okay. Again, a little bit more on who's on the Politburo, not just Su'al al-Hindi, but these other people are also all connected to UNRWA, one way or the other. You see Essam al-Dalis, and also a Hamas leader and an UNRWA union leader. We'll mention more about them later. Okay. Now, what was UNRWA's reaction? Okay. Yeah, so now we're in, in 2011, let's go ahead. In 2011, 3 months of mass protests shutting down UNRWA schools. UNRWA relents. This is the recurring theme. UNRWA relents. They say, okay, we're putting him back. So they know that he's chairing Hamas events. They know he's a Hamas leader, and that he comes from the Hamas movement. He comes from a young age from the Muslim Brotherhood, but they put him back. So for another 6 years, he's in UNRWA doing what he does, being an UNRWA union leader by day, Hamas terror chief by night. Then his election to the Politburo is published on a website. Israel complains again. They go, look, he's just been elected to the political bureau. It's published. There's no way you can still keep him. UNRWA's reaction is this. Okay, Christopher Gunnis was the longtime spokesman, February 2017. I'm going to read it out to you. Su'al al-Hindi rejects the news about his name appearing amongst the winning list of the Hamas Political Bureau. He says, quote, I have no relation whatsoever with the issue. What do you mean? I don't know what you mean. I have no relation with the issue. You just saw the team photo. You saw all the photos. I have nothing to do with it. And UNRWA's passing this to you. This is going to the donors. Okay, it's published on their website, but the primary people are the donors. We did due diligence. We shared it. Next paragraph. Based on the due diligence, UNRWA, we have carried out due diligence. UNRWA has neither uncovered nor received any evidence to contradict the staff member, Su'al al-Hindi's, denial that he was elected to political office. So UNRWA is telling you, the donor states, we did due diligence, we don't know anything about this. Right? Everyone in Gaza knows. The pictures are posted. the publication was listed. We asked him. He said, I have nothing to do with this issue. And we are telling you, we did our due diligence. We have no information to deny it. The information becomes too embarrassing, and eventually UNRWA has no choice, and they suspend him. Okay? They actually remove him. We don't know whether he was fired, or more likely, they may have told him, look, we want to make sure you keep your pension for life, so you need to resign. Okay? They will tell us at maximum he was separated from us. Did you fire him? Did he resign? He was separated. A journalist 2 weeks ago asked about some UNRWA offenders, and they said he's been separated from UNRWA. So it doesn't want to say, if they say fire, if it was fired, it will embarrass Hamas, and they don't want to embarrass Hamas. UNRWA does not want to embarrass Hamas, and if he resigned, they may not want to tell you, because then he's still collecting his pension. Okay, when he retired, after 29 years with UNRWA, the UNRWA community made a big party for him. Big party for Suhail al-Hindi. Who was at the big party? Fathi Hamad from the Hamas Politburo, Ghazi Hamad from the Hamas Politburo, Ahmed Bahar, deputy speaker of the Hamas parliament, and then another Yusuf Sharafi, another member of the Hamas parliament. What did they say at his retirement party? Today is a day of loyalty from the Arab Union to the leader of the march. And this is not the march for women's rights. This is not the march for gay rights. This is not the march for democracy. It's the march for Hamas. He's leader of the march, Dr. Suhail al-Hindi. He stood up against the inclusion of the Holocaust in the Palestinian curricula. So he's retiring after 29 years of UNRWA. And what is the praise? He's our hero, because as the staff union leader, when UNRWA was pressured to teach about the Holocaust and telling you, we're doing Holocaust education, we're teaching UN values, he stood up and he stopped it. He stopped it. So he's our hero. Next quote. He's a fighter who devoted his professional life to serving our people. This is from the Palestinian Front for the Liberation of Palestine, speaking on behalf of the national Islamic factions, which includes Hamas and the Jihad. So Hamas and the Jihad are praising him for stopping Holocaust education. Please.
Just a remark, the PFLP is also another German-listed terror organization, or from Germany declared terror organization, just so you know that as well.
Thank you. Okay, next. Now, that was 2017. That was his goodbye party. Officially now, he's no longer with UNRWA. And now his Hamas identity, he has no shame at all in openly embracing it. And one of the things he does is he becomes one of the leaders of the March of Return. The March of Return was a few years starting in 2018, March 2018, when Hamas sent people, orchestrated riots, mass riots on the border with Israel, which was really a forerunner to October 7th, by sending thousands of Hamas orchestrated Palestinians. Some were civilians that they pushed there. Many others were Hamas operatives. They were testing the border. So when they invaded on October 7th, they knew exactly what the border was, because for years, they were having these border riots, sending people throwing rocks and burning tires and having drones. And they knew exactly what Israel would do, what cameras were where, and it was really a testing ground for the October 7th massacre. And UNRWA on their website, if you go today, they have a thing called the Great March of Return. And what does it say? It says, the Great March of Return demonstrations began on 30 March to demand the end of the Israeli blockade and the right of return for refugees. The right of return. Right of return sounds nice, a right. For Palestinians, it means to dismantle Israel. Right? October 7th, for the Palestinians who were involved in the invasion, that is the right of return. The right of return is to violently enter Israel, kill people, dismantle the state, massacre families. That is how they see the right of return. And according to Johan Sufi, head of the UNRWA legal department in Gaza, he said 90% of people in Gaza are graduates of UNRWA. So 90% of the people who invaded on October 7th were graduates of UNRWA. You don't hear about that from UNRWA. And so they have a large March of Return page on their website. And who was one of the leaders of the March of Return? It was Suhail al-Hindi. So he's now openly part of Hamas. And so here's an article from 2018. It's about 6 months later. I think it's September 2018. Suhail al-Hindi, member of Hamas Politburo. So first he had nothing to do with the issue, but now he can't lie anymore. So now it's open. He revealed a plan to move schools camps, the daily lives of residents, to the fence. So there's a mass confrontation. Hamas is sending hundreds of people every Friday to the border to do violent riots, burning tires. Israel is responding, sometimes with live fire, to stop them from invading Israel and doing what they did on October 7th. And he is angry at UNRWA because they're doing some cuts. So he's threatening, he's going to put these kids on the border. Okay, and he puts, the second paragraph, there's a consideration of transferring schools and students to the border. Let the agency's management, UNRWA, the occupation, Israel, and all those besieging Gaza bear responsibility for the outcome. I'm going to send schools, I'm going to send students to this violent border between Israel and Hamas, and whatever will happen, will happen. Okay, I don't know if he officially did that, but in effect, that's what he was doing. Okay. He's head of the March of Return. He says the return marches will continue until their goals are achieved. Gaza defends the Arab and Islamic nations with blood. Again, you see him here now openly on the Hamas thing. He doesn't have to pretend at all anymore. Okay. Many other UNRWA union people are involved in this forerunner to October 7th. Here's one UNRWA union leader. The picture on the bottom is the picture he took. These are the violent border riots that Hamas was orchestrating. Return is our right. Okay. So although al-Hindi left UNRWA, he didn't really leave. Because he's an expert, he was the union leader, they need him. So he's still managing things at UNRWA. Officially, he's gone, but in practice, he's on the Hamas political bureau, and he's still managing things, including through his successors, who are all his disciples. We'll come to them in a moment. There was dispute with UNRWA over cuts, and it's Su'al al-Hindi who's organizing these protests. These are protests against UNRWA. At the time, a German national, Matthias Schmel, was the head of UNRWA in Gaza at this time. He used to be in Lebanon, a great defender of UNRWA, turned the blind eye to everything that was going on. And whenever he had to give the news that there were some cuts, they would immediately have spontaneous protests saying he's a terrible guy, you're not welcome. And it was Su'al al-Hindi who was organizing the protest. Matthias Schmel said, I'm the captain, I feel like the captain of a ship of 13,000 sailors, but now they're doing a mutiny against me. And anyways, and of course they often would give in. So al-Hindi is organizing these protests. Now, in May 2021, there was a war between Israel and Hamas. And during the war, Matthias Schmel, who's a defender of UNRWA, he was interviewed on Israeli TV, and Israeli TV asked him, is it true that when Israel strikes Hamas, they're precise? He said, yes, it's very precise. I remember one time they hit a Hamas target across the street, and there was an UNRWA something, a school, the other, and the school wasn't touched at all. They precisely hit, very precise. And he didn't realize what he was saying. Of course, defenders of Israel said, aha, even Matthias Schmel, the defender of UNRWA in Gaza, he admits that Israel is precise. So it went on the internet. Hamas got embarrassed. Hamas got embarrassed because the head of UNRWA in Gaza is saying IDF is precise. So they organized new protests against him. They put a picture of him on an IDF uniform, and they basically threatened his life. What happened? UNRWA got rid of him. Okay? Basically, Hamas expelled al-Hindi, put pressure. He orchestrated a protest against Schmel. They put pressure on Schmel, and UNRWA got rid of him. They kicked Schmel out. And the deputy head of UNRWA, who was based in Amman, her name is Lenny Stenseth. She is now the Director General in Oslo of the Norwegian Foreign Ministry. So the Director General of Norway's Foreign Ministry, the number 2 of UNRWA at the time, she goes to Gaza. She meets with Sinwar, the mastermind of the massacre. This is in 2021. And she affirms her solidarity. This is according to the Palestinian newspaper quote, and called her Gaza rep Schmel, his remarks, indefensible. So for him, going on Israeli TV and unwittingly, he didn't mean to say it, admitting that Israel strikes her precise, that was indefensible, she throws him under the bus and she kicks him out. And al-Hindi was the major guy, no longer at UNRWA, but still managing things. Okay. When UNRWA suspended some staff, one of our reports, we did a report exposing incitement by UNRWA teachers. UNRWA suspended some of them. Al-Hindi organized protests no to the policy of submission, and he threatened unprecedented steps unless UNRWA's management retracted unacceptable decisions and returned the employees to their jobs with honor and respect. So al-Hindi is still a major figure at UNRWA. Next, here he is again speaking. We deplore the agency's surrender to the Zionist will, which tries to liquidate the refugee issue. This amounts to ending UNRWA. He doesn't say UNRWA, the aid agency, right? Today you'll hear only UNRWA can give out boxes of food. No one else can give out boxes of food, only UNRWA. UNRWA is a central aid agency. But the truth is that those who are the champions of UNRWA don't love UNRWA and defend UNRWA to the end, 100%, because they give out boxes of food or because they give out vaccines. Any agency in Geneva where I'm based can do that, and does do it. UNHCR flies to Sudan, flies to Ukraine, flies to Syria, and within a few weeks is giving out food to millions of people. But when they say only UNRWA, it's because it's not the aid aspect that they care about, it's the other aspect. What al-Hindi says, UNRWA is, the last sentence that you see here, the living witness to the suffering of the Palestinian people, in other cases to the injustice of Israel's creation. UNRWA from 1948, in their opinion, is the perpetual witness to the injustice of Israel's creation as they see it, and that is why they defend UNRWA. Not because of the aid, it's because of the political agenda, which is to dismantle Israel. Okay, next. Here he is on TV, July 2023. This is a few months before the massacre of October 7th. A clear message to the enemy: we are preparing, and Allah willing, we are on the cusp of a battle that will be the decisive battle between us and the enemy. So he's telling you, this is in a video, and you see what's going on otherwise in the video. The massacre happens. He's a Hamas leader. He praises it. By Allah, do not leave this hall unless you have the intention to continue the jihad. Besiege the embassies of the Zionist and American enemy all over the world. Again, what is he doing now, al-Hindi? He's part of the delegation representing Hamas, meeting with Iran. So that is al-Hindi. Again, officially left UNRWA, but still managing things, and one of the leaders of Hamas. I'm going to do about 10 minutes more, and then we'll stop and take your questions. Who are al-Hindi's successors? So officially he left. His successor is another Hamas guy, Amir al-Mashal. Here he is, his successor. Again, Amir al-Mashal, you see him standing and speaking. He's a major figure in UNRWA. He's head of the audit and finance department in Gaza. You see him with Krahenbull. You see him with Lazzarini. So the current Lazzarini, who comes here sometimes to get your money, here he is meeting with UNRWA people. Half of these people are Hamas leaders, and he knows it. There was a scandal where the gentleman on the right, who now became the head of the UNRWA union, he used his position as an UNRWA accountant to siphon money to Hamas, of course. Hamas placed these people in the UNRWA unions to use their facilities, to recruit the children, and everything else. Next. Al-Mashal, who became the head of the union, his family are all high-ranking Hamas. They're preachers, they're terrorists, all very high-ranking Hamas people. You see his cousin, Salar Badawi, one of the Hamas Politburo leaders. Okay? And then you see Essam al-Dalis, another Hamas Politburo individual. He was head of the UNRWA Teachers Union, became personal advisor to Hania, de facto prime minister in Gaza, was also in Hamas finance unit. So UNRWA union, Hamas, the current leader of the union is Mustafa al-Ghul. You can see him here with a Hamas commander and an UNRWA school principal. He has very significant Hamas affiliations. He's the current union leader. So al-Hindi, if you ask UNRWA, they'll say, al-Hindi's gone. Well, I showed you he's not gone. He's running things, and his successors and his associates from Hamas are still running the unions. So that, ladies and gentlemen, covers the last one. Mahmoud Hamdan, UNRWA principal and Hamas member, is in our report. One of several people exposed in the report. His father, also an UNRWA principal and one of the co-founders of Hamas. This is his father with the then leader of Hamas.
He's the current head of the teacher sector of the union.
So he's the current head of the teachers union, is Mahmoud Hamdan. Okay, now we go into Lebanon. we'll go quickly. We'll do about a little over 5 minutes, and then we'll take your questions. So that was Gaza, now Lebanon. Meet Fathi Sharif, the gentleman over there. He's UNRWA teacher and school principal. Very similar pattern to what in Gaza. Different country, similar pattern. Here he is as an UNRWA. He's head of the UNRWA Teachers Union in Lebanon. 2,000 teachers answer to Fathi Sharif, UNRWA teacher, school principal, and of course he's a Hamas leader. He's the Hamas leader in Lebanon. Okay? He was the Hamas leader in Lebanon. Let's pause for a moment. Here is on the left is UNRWA giving him a certificate of appreciation. We honor Fathi Sharif in 2019. The person handing him the certificate in the center is Claudio Cardone, the head of UNRWA in Lebanon, and was the head of Amnesty International. Okay, was the head of Amnesty International. He's not an idiot. He's very smart. And I'm going to show you briefly what Fathi Sharif was putting on his page every day, was putting on the community website, and everyone knew about it, including the former head of Amnesty International and the head of UNRWA. On the right is when Fathi Sharif was eliminated. The IDF, a year ago, September 2024, eliminated Fathi Sharif, and Hamas put out this martyrs poster because he was their leader. I'm going to say that again. The leader of the UNRWA Teachers Union gets certificates of appreciation, October 2019, from Claudio Cardone, was the leader of Hamas. I'm not saying it, Hamas said it. Okay, here he is. Now, no, when you asked, when Guterres, the Secretary General of the UN, when his spokesman, Stefan Dujarric, was asked in New York, we heard that Israel killed the leader of Hamas in Lebanon. Hamas said he was their leader, and he was the head of the UNRWA Teachers Union. What do you have to say about it? He said, you know. He said, normally, when you have someone working in an underground organization, he doesn't advertise it, right? He doesn't publicize it. The opposite is true. The opposite is true. He was hiding in plain sight. Okay, these are pictures. I wasn't there. Lewis wasn't there. These were posted on the community website. Fathi Sharif's in the beige suit in the top. Next to him, the gentleman with the white shirt is one of the leaders of Hamas. The picture of the old man, the elderly man with the white beard is Ahmed Yassin, the founder of Hamas. This is an event for children learning martial arts with Hamas headbands. So in memory of Hamas leaders, learn how to be a jihadist, and Fathi Sharif is on the stage with Hamas people giving out the certificates. Everyone knew. Everyone knew, all on the community websites. Fathi Sharif, the large gentleman with the white shirt, when he made engagement parties for his children, pictures posted on the community website, public, with terrorist leaders. Abu Tariq, the gentleman without the mustache with the beard, Abu Tariq is the head of an Al-Qaeda affiliate in Lebanon. When he died, he was eulogized by Fathi Sharif. Here he is with Hamas leaders in Lebanon. They're all in the front row. Ali Baraka, on the bottom there, was indicted by the US as one of the top Hamas criminals by the Department of Justice. Fathi Sharif has him in the front row at all his celebrations of his family. Here's Fathi Sharif holding the casket of a Hamas terrorist who died. The child with the rifle is being held on the shoulders of another Hamas terrorist, Abu Jihad. All of this is posted on websites. Everyone knew who Fathi Sharif was. You see the gentleman, people in the green baseball caps, they're his bodyguards. You see the guns. He's walking around outside of the city of Tyre in his neighborhood. He's the Hamas chief, everyone knows. Here he is at a event in Lebanon. He's speaking about the resistance. He's praising the resistance. We have the video. Next to him is Dorothy Klaus. She's from Germany. She's the current leader of Lebanon and UNRWA. She listens to him saying he's praising the resistance. And later she says in an interview, I didn't know anything about anything. How could I know? We didn't know anything, right? It's all on the website, not hiding it. She's hearing him praising the resistance. I didn't know anything. I didn't see anything. I didn't know anything. Okay, on his website for 10 years, right? No one knew. Our report has about 30 pages of incitement to terrorism on his website. He made it his profile picture. If you see at the top, Abu Amin Sharif, that's his other name, Fathi Sharif, Abu Amin, he's the father of Amin. This was his profile picture of, I believe it's his son, holding a rifle. Did anyone see it? Yeah, 82 people clicked like. Who clicked like? UNRWA people clicked like. Mohammed Faturi worked at UNRWA. Like. Everyone saw it. Everyone liked it. Everyone knew. Here he is at the UNRWA school. Who is he bringing into the class? Is he bringing a human rights hero? Is he bringing a women's champion of human rights? No, he's bringing in Hamas into the school. Here's Fathi Sharif bringing the Hamas spokesman into his class in Lebanon. Here's Fathi Sharif with all his students. They're holding posters. What do the posters say? Jerusalem, look in the red box. Jerusalem, knife intifada. My people will be part of the intifada. This is when Jews were being stabbed. 200 stabbing attacks in Jerusalem. He's encouraging it. Next, no one knew anything, right? Philippe Lazzarini has a meeting with all the UNRWA union leaders. Amir al-Mashar, the UNRWA union leader on the left, Ibrahim Miri. I'll say a word or two about Fathi Sharif was eliminated last year. Israel sent a missile into his second floor apartment outside of Tyre. The day he was killed, Hamas said they killed our leader. There's a 3-minute video. Within a day, they had a video saying he taught jihadi education. He's our leader. We mourn him. And then all the pictures of him with Haniya and the other things, some of which you saw here. His successors, Ibrahim Meri, said, I am committed to the legacy of Fathi Sharif. Here's Philippe Lazzarini meeting with, on the left, the leader of UNRWA staff in teachers in Lebanon, on the right from Gaza. So the Hamas UNRWA from Gaza, they're in Amman, is meeting Hamas UNRWA from Lebanon. Basically, UNRWA paid for a Hamas conference, okay? There they all gathered, and Lazzarini is there, and he knows about it. That is the last slide. There are dozens of other pages of other UNRWA union leaders in Lebanon who are still there now, teaching terrorism, recruiting students for terrorism, continuing the legacy of Sharif. So both al-Hindi and Sharif, even though one was killed, one is now the leader of Hamas, one of the leaders of Hamas, their successors and associates are well ensconced. What you have here to conclude is an education system that is completely captured by Hamas. UNRWA knows it. Their answers are, there were few people, we took care of it, we suspended it. They know about the issue, they don't deal with it. The raison d'etre of UNRWA is the right of return, to teach Palestinians in Gaza, don't build a new future on a beautiful beach, which they have, because I've been there, but your home is in Israel. You're going to dismantle Israel because you have the right of return. So long as UNRWA remains, in the words of the Swiss Foreign Minister Ignacio Cassis, funding UNRWA is a perverse logic. It is not part of the solution. It is part of the problem.